Thomas Morstead will kick off. Interesting to note, most teams these days, when they win the toss, defer, but not the Cowboys. They have not deferred. They won the toss. They've elected to receive. They don't want to start behind 3-0 or 7-0.
Yeah, and this Saints offense, sometimes you get behind them, and it ends up being a really long night. They experienced that a season ago.
So Bryant getting ready as the offense will be coming out after the Dallas Cowboys receive the opening kick. There's Jason Witten, longtime tight end. Morstead, who is their punter. Shane Graham is their kicker, but Morstead has the kickoff duties. Played his college football up in Big D at SMU. And off we go from AT&T Stadium. And we start with a touchback. And so the Dallas Cowboys will take over at the 20-yard line. And here are their starters.
Tony Romo, Eastern Illinois University.
DeMarco Murray, Oklahoma.
Dez Bryant, Oklahoma State.
Terrence Williams, Baylor.
Jason Witten, Tennessee.
James Hanna, Oklahoma. Tyre Smith, USC.
Ronald Leary, University of Memphis.
Travis Frederick, Wisconsin.
Zach Martin, Notre Dame. Doug Free, Northern Illinois University.
That offensive line has been rebuilt over the past 4 years and is now one of the better ones in the league. DeMarco Murray, even counting today's games, is the leading rusher in the league. Came into the weekend on top. And when you throw in what everybody did today in the afternoon games, he is still on top. And out of the pistol, they start with Murray. And that's a gain of 2 up to the 22-yard line. Broderick Bunkley makes the stop. So Murray, a great back. There's no question about that. Can do so many things and do them well. 5.1 average is terrific, but the problem has been fumbling. He's fumbled in each of the last 3 games, and he fumbled in his last game last season.
Yeah, so 4 in a row, and all in the first quarter. So obviously the focus of attention here to start this one.
And on 2nd and 9, off the play fake, Romo throws. He's been terrific on play action the last couple of weeks. And Terrence Williams makes the catch up at the 36-yard line for a Cowboy first down.
Well, here's what the running game does for you here, though, because they have so many people now committed to try and stop the running game. You get a one-on-one route down the field against Corey White, and if you're Tony Romo and you get the ball out quickly, it works.
Come up in a 2 tight end set here with Witten and Escobar. Escobar was in the slot. To the left side goes Murray up to the 37-yard line for a gain of 1. Tony Romo, who missed the last game last season when he had that back surgery, 31 straight games, or almost the equivalent of 2 full seasons with a touchdown pass. Drew Brees holds that record with a 54-game streak. And on 2nd and 9, stacking 2 receivers to the left. Romo looks that way, then goes over the middle, and the catch is made by Gavin Escobar, the number 2 tight end. He was picked in the 2nd round out of San Diego State last year. Curtis Lofton makes the tackle. Upcoming is 3rd and 3.
Well, one thing you know, Rob Ryan's not going to let Dez Bryant beat him. They doubled him a season ago, had him doubled here again, so now you've got to find plan B, and there it is. Gavin Escobar over the middle. So right now the Dallas Cowboys checking out what Rob Ryan does to all these different looks. They just went spread and it was effective.
Ryan, the defensive coordinator, was here and got fired 2 years ago, went over to Sean Payton. 3rd and 2. Romo with that pump fake. Scrambles, tries to get out, as he does so often. We've seen this a million times. Flag is down for the moment the catch is made. But you saw the flag at the 40-yard line, where Witten made the catch. And the Cowboys are moving downfield, everybody indicating it's going to be on the defense.
First of all, an incredible play by Tony Romo, but it was almost hilarious watching Jason Witten, who got knocked down the field, turned around, pointed to the official threw the flag. Witten got up and made the play.
To the pass, illegal contact, defense number 31. Penalty is declined. The result of the play is a first down.
That's Gene's
With the game
territory.
clock operator, please reset the game clock to 12 minutes and 20 seconds.
So there's the knockdown. Witten begs for the flag, gets it, gets up, starts scrambling around. But this is really the story. Tony Romo in week 1 could not have done this. He did not look like this. Now he's back to moving around, little escapability, and they desperately needed to see that out of Romo.
When Witten got the flag, that would have been worth 5 yards. Then he gets up and turns it into a 16-yard gain at the Saint 41-yard line. Good fake to Murray, and then the pass goes to him. And Murray is out of bounds in front of the Saint bench at the 35. Let's take a look at the Saints starters.
Akeem Hicks, University of Regina, Saskatchewan.
Broderick Bonklin, Florida State University.
Cameron Jordan, UC Berkeley.
Junior Gervais Gillette, Port-au-Prince, Haiti.
Ramon Humber, Bison.
Curtis Lofton, Oklahoma.
Harris Harrelson, Tennessee.
Keenan Lewis, West Bank.
Kenny Vaccaro, Texas.
Jarris Bird, Oregon.
Corey White, Stanford University.
And Bird, the Pro Bowl safety, the big offseason pickup from the Buffalo Bills, as Murray puts his head down but gets slung back by Curtis Lofton, the ex-Falcon, 7th year in the league and 3rd with the Saints. Scott Linehan, there he is. He was the head coach at St. Louis a few years back, but now he is not the offensive coordinator, he's the passing game coordinator, but as you can see, he's the guy calling the plays this year.
Yeah, and it has been some major changes. A few years ago, Jerry Jones made the decision he didn't want Jason Garrett calling the plays, wanted him to be a head coach, and it has been an evolution of who's been calling plays since then. We'll get into it.
And you see last year they were 0 for 9 on 3rd down. They've already converted on 3rd down tonight. Now they try to do it again on 3rd and a deuce, and they will as the catch is made by Jason Witten, the security blanket, his main man, 12 years in the league for Witten.
Well, tight ends sometimes can be too strong for safeties. Watch Jason Witten basically kind of just push off just a bit against Kenny Vaccaro, one of the strongest safeties that there is. But anytime you have somebody that is that much bigger and he can get a little separation just by giving that little nudge, gave Tony Romo all he needed.
Nice opening drive for the Cowboys. It's the 9th play, 3 runs, 5 passes, and Romo is 5 for 5 for 52 yards. Only a 3-man rush. Tony has time, throws outside, catch made. That's Dwayne Harris making the grab. He's tackled there by the cornerback Corey White.
Well, one of the things that when you talk about the New Orleans Saints defensively, I always thought one of their key guys was Keenan Lewis in the secondary. He is the closest thing to a shutdown corner that Rob Ryan has, and it is going to be some matchup tonight between Keenan Lewis and Dez Bryant. A week ago, Keenan Lewis was on Cordero Patterson, an outstanding young receiver in this league, and he is the guy. They play one-on-one a lot over there so they can rotate that defense the other way.
Lewis, former Steeler, but he's from New Orleans and wanted to go home, signed as a free agent. And here goes Murray through the middle with a big hole to set up a 1st down and goal. DeMarco Murray. Humber makes the tackle. Escobar helps to lead the way, the tight end with a block, 1st and goal.
The offensive lineman that probably gets the least amount of attention on this offensive line, Doug Free. Look at that block, just taking his guy, washing him all the way down, and then DeMarco Murray doing the rest.
Now the 11th play of this drive. So they won the toss, elected to receive, and so far so good for the Cowboys as they try to cash in. And they give it to Murray, and Murray gets backed up and stopped at the line of scrimmage. Akeem Hicks makes the tackle. So Drew Brees is sitting and waiting, but this is exactly what the Cowboys want to do. Not only have an effective looking offense, which they have obviously on this drive, but chew up a lot of clock.
You know, we have just seen it so often now that when you get behind the New Orleans Saints, it just seems like you can never dig your way out of it. So it's a big difference on this drive between scoring a touchdown and kicking a field goal.
This drive going into his 8th minute. There's the delayed handoff, and then Romo throws, and it is caught in the end zone by Terrence Williams for the touchdown. A beautiful opening drive. Romo winds up 7 for 7. Murray carries 5 times. They go 80 yards in 12 plays.
Everybody thinks about Terrence Williams being the speedster, but this is how you make your chops in the National Football League. You go up, you know you're going to take a big shot, and you make the play. You see the double coverage on Dez Bryant. Tony Romo has figured out already, let's not go there, let's look away. He was telling us on Friday, we feel like our other matchups look really good in this one. What a drive.
Dan Bailey for the extra point. And for Terrence Williams, his 3rd touchdown of the season. Romo's 5th touchdown pass of the season. 7-0 Cowboys. It's the Cowboys off to a good start against the Saints. And this is a bouncing ball that will be downed in the end zone by Travaris Cadet. Drew Brees and his gang ready to go to work for the first time tonight when we come back to Sunday Night Football. Kyrie Robinson picks up 4 yards, taking it out to the 24. Drew Brees, sharp as ever, 14 years in the league. Started with San Diego as their number 2 draft choice, played behind Doug Flutie at the beginning of his career. Decided to sign with New Orleans post-Katrina in 06. Went there with Sean Payton. They've got a Super Bowl trophy and a lot of success. Now McLean is back in the game for Dallas. Brees climbs the pocket. Flag is down. Pass is incomplete off the hands of Jimmy Graham. Flag down at the 34-yard line. And we'll get the call from Gene Steratore.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense number 32. 5-yard penalty, automatic, first down.
And that's Orlando Scandrick.
Orlando Scandrick, who's taking over as the starter. You can't tug the jersey. You have to remember, and I assume all NFL players know this, that there is an official on the field that is assigned to every eligible receiver. So anytime that jersey gets tugged, 100% of the time you're going to get caught. So I don't know why they keep doing it.
Well, maybe 99.6. Somebody may miss it once in a while.
That's really a good point.
It's not that good. Brees climbs up again, and the pass is incomplete. Flag is down again. That's Marcus Colston, Barry Church, and Scandrick, after starting to clap their hands, now look around and go, huh?
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, defense number 52. 5-yard penalty, first down.
Linebacker Justin Durant.
Durant coming back from a groin injury a week ago. He was out. There he is right there. Just going to grab as he goes by. Another good call. Tough to cover all these guys, although in back-to-back plays now, it's been probably the most sure-handed receivers that they have. Jimmy Graham and then Marcus Colston, both dropping balls they ordinarily catch.
But 2 penalties on those plays, thus a first down from the 34. Here comes the blitz, and they swing it out to Travaris Cadet. And Cadet up to the 41, tackled by Church. Let's take a look at the Saints starters.
Drew Brees, Purdue Boilermakers. Kyrie Robinson, Wasabi Reigns.
Marcus Colston, Hofstra University.
Brandon Cooks, Oregon State.
Kenny Stills, University of Oklahoma.
Jimmy Graham, the U.
Teron Armstead, the Yard.
Ben Grubbs, Auburn University.
Jonathan Goodwin, Michigan.
Jari Evans, Bloomsburg University. Zach Streif, Northwestern.
Maybe the best tandem of guards in the league. Grubbs and Evans. They're swinging out here to Cooks, and he takes it to the 41-yard line. He's a rookie, drafted out of Oregon State, and turned 21 years old this week. Sean Payton, head coach, and the play caller. Familiar chart.
A lot of highlights on there, and one of the highlights is Brandon Cooks, who is sort of taking over that Darren Sproles role, don't you think? A guy they're trying to just get the ball to in space a little bit, let him make some plays. One of the fastest guys at the combine, about 4.33. He can really move.
He and Travaris Cadet both filling that role as Sproles left to go to Philadelphia. And Brees is able to get out of trouble and pick up a first down up at the 49-yard line. And that is Claiborne, Mo Claiborne, who is down. So Mo, in and out of the news this week. Was demoted the other day. Left camp, came back, and now we have an injury timeout for him. Well, Mo Claiborne would like to forget about this week, leaving camp when he was demoted, but he actually wound up starting tonight, at least for the first play of the game. Then he gets hurt here, Chris.
Yeah, he just kind of gets run over. A little misstep there. We won't speculate on what it was, but we will speculate on the fact there are only 3 cornerbacks left on the Dallas Cowboys right now, so they may have to get creative with some of their safeties.
From the 47, after Breeze ran for that first down, good hole here. Tyree Robinson across midfield. Let's take a look at that Dallas defense.
George Selby, South Florida.
Nick Hayden, Wisconsin.
Tom Crawford, Boise State. Jeremy Mincy, Florida.
Bruce Carter, North Carolina.
Rolando McClain, University of Alabama.
Justin Durant, Real HU, Hampton.
Brandon Carr, Grand Valley State.
Barry Church, Toledo.
JJ Wilcox, Georgia Southern. Orlando Scandrick, South Central Los Angeles.
So Scandrick, who missed the first 2 games for a PED violation, and they changed the policy to let him come back to the active roster after 2 weeks. Travaris Cadet makes that catch. Mincy stops him. It'll be 3rd down and a short 3.
Yeah, one of the things the Cowboys did a week ago to come back from that 21-0 deficit is they started blitzing a lot, and they really played much better. It seemed to sort of flip a switch, and they were more aggressive in the second half of that game, and Drew Brees, we've seen that before, kind of craning his neck and trying to see the action.
Cadet, and he'll get tripped up for no gain, making it 4th down. Travaris Cadet swinging to the outside, and you've got Armstead, the left tackle, who is slow in getting up for the Saints.
Really nice play there on the part of Orlando Scandrick. And one thing you'll notice in watching some tape on the Saints offensively is that Brandon Cooks, while he's a very exciting receiver, has some real problems as far as trying to make blocks on the edge, and it didn't happen again.
Armstead appears to be okay, was down for just a moment. Good looking young left tackle. Thomas Morstead will send it down toward Dwayne Harris.
I don't think this game could start any better for the Dallas Cowboys.
And with the nose down and backspin. And it bounces at the 6-yard line.
That was close.
Yeah, very, very to hitting him. And the Cowboys will get the ball at the 10 with 3:43 to go in the opening quarter. 7-0 Cowboys. Back we come to AT&T Stadium in Arlington. Cowboys will start their second drive from the 11-yard line. Their first 80 yards for a touchdown. And begin it with Murray on the ground. The leading ground gainer up to the 15-yard line.
All right, let's go back to the touchdown. A little NBC 360. No doubt about the double coverage there on Des Bryant. But Jarris Byrd is going to come off late and almost make this play. Terrence Williams sprinting across the field, and he knew he's going to take that shot and held on. Very nice play by Terrence Williams, and good recognition by Romo to come right off the double team.
2nd and 5. They empty the backfield. Lance Dunbar comes in, and he is stacked on the left side here. He's the backup to Murray. And Romo, a little dump pass over the middle. A yard short of the first down is Cole Beasley, tackled by Curtis Lofton. It'll be 3rd and 1 up at the 20.
Really good matchup on the outside here. Tyron Smith going up against their best pass rusher, and Junior Gillette already has 2 sacks on the season, and Tyron Smith has hands that just are vice grips. I mean, the Cowboys talk about it. They say when he truly gets both hands on somebody, it's over. Nobody escapes from him, and you saw it that time on Gillette.
3rd and 1. They go with 3 tight ends and put Murray back in the game. That's Hanna, the 3rd tight end, serving the role of fullback here. And Murray is able to utilize that to his advantage with a stiff arm. Picks up the first down.
Multi-faceted tackle here. Tyron Smith's going to get out in front of this one this time and do the kick out block. Going to allow DeMarco Murray to turn it up for the first down. Outstanding player, Tyron Smith, in the Pro Bowl a season ago. And he is only going to get better. Really a fun matchup to watch against Robert Quinn and the Rams a week ago. What a fantastic game Tyron Smith had.
He started the resurrection of that offensive line, which had grown old back in 2011. Pass to the outside, caught by Williams, spins away, and Williams up to the 41-yard line for another Cowboy first down. Got away from Corey White.
Well, Al, what's happening is right now the Saints are just playing the run, and it is really making things tough on Corey White on the outside. We talked about Terrence Williams and the speed, but they are really so committed now with 8 guys trying to stop that run, bringing the safety up right around the line of scrimmage, that it's creating some opportunities. So actually the Cowboys throwing it a little more, I think, even than what they thought tonight.
And throwing it brilliantly. 9 of 9 is Romo. Now he hands the ball off to Murray. And another big gain here. First down to the Saints' 41-yard line goes DeMarco Murray, tackled by the safety Raphael Bush.
First round draft pick here, Zach Martin's going to set the tone, and then it's going to be Jason Witten and Ronald Leary pulling around, but that is a nice size hole right there. So now sometimes it works the other way. Al, you know, sometimes you come out and you complete some passes and all of a sudden the running game sets up. A lot of people think you have to run first, but not necessarily.
A great balance thus far, Chris, with 8 rushes, 9 passes. Already running their 18th play of a quarter that has less than 20 seconds left in it. And now it's Joseph Randle, who's the number 3 running back, taking it to the 41-yard line. And that will take us into the second stanza as the Dallas Cowboys look very sharp in the opening quarter. At home, trying to go to 3-1, leading at the end of one. 7-0. And Sunday Night Football resumes after these messages. On this warm night in the Metroplex, it's 2nd down and 9. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, Michelle Tafoya. Cowboys on top, 7-0. 2nd and 9. On the first play of the second quarter, and here comes an all-out blitz, and the pass is a little low and incomplete, intended for Lance Dunbar. So forcing the issue, Ryan that time sending the house, and Romo got it off and couldn't get there in time, or on target anyway. 3rd down.
And one thing you do not want to do is encourage that guy to blitz more. That time Tony Romo saw the blitz. He clearly saw it, audibled, back off, had an open receiver, but tried to hit that fadeaway jumper there and came up short. So when you end up not converting against this blitz, typically you see more of it.
Dick Barnett, fallback baby, is the only guy who could have completed that one. 3rd and 9. That's the first incomplete pass from Romo tonight. And a little soft pass is incomplete here, intended for Devin Street, a rookie out of Pittsburgh. He was covered by Jarris Byrd. 4th down.
Yeah, Jarris Byrd is going to come sprinting out here late, and Romo tried to take advantage of it, but there's the high-price safety, Jarris Byrd, that's come over and really made a difference. Forced 1 fumble already, but he has been a turnover machine throughout his career. Came from Buffalo.
High-price safety guarding a 5th-round rookie draft choice. Byrd is back to receive the kick. Chris Jones is the left-footed Dallas punter. And Byrd will fair catch it at the 12-yard line. Breeze will go back to work when we come back early in the second quarter on Sunday Night Football. Much has been made about the Saints home and road. Take a look at this. Last 16 regular season games, 2 full seasons worth. 8-0 under the dome, 1-7 when they have to travel. Points per game at home 34, on the road only 20 per game. And points allowed at home just 15, where it's very noisy and very tough for the defense to operate. Road 26. So here they are on the road, and again we started out by telling you tonight that they're 0-2 on the road to start the season. 1 at home, now back on the road this week. And you can see the difference there with Breeze home and road. Meanwhile, Bryce Harris is the new left tackle. We saw Armstead get shaken up on the last series, so he is out at least momentarily. This drive starts from the 12-yard line. And it begins with Robinson trying to cut back the other way. And it's a gain of 3. And we go to Michelle.
Well, yeah, Al, Teron Armstead went to the locker room to be evaluated for a concussion. We'll wait on those results. Meanwhile, Mo Claiborne, the Dallas cornerback, is questionable with a left knee sprain. And when head orthopedist Dan Cooper sent him to the locker room, Claiborne could not put any weight on that left leg, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. So Claiborne, who lost his starting role and then comes out in the first quarter, doesn't look good. The new tackle we talked about, Bryce Harris. You saw how Armstead got hurt. Breeze will take this snap out of the gun on 2nd and 7. 4-man rush. Caught over the middle. A little shy of the first. Colston. Home and road, so much is made of this, but the Saints did win a road playoff game last year. Went into Philadelphia and beat them. But the year they won the Super Bowl, they were the #1 seed. It makes a huge difference for this team to play at home, obviously.
It's almost to the point where when we've called games in New Orleans, it's just a matter of how big they're going to win. I mean, we have seen some real blowouts there, and for whatever reason, it just does not translate. I mean, we're playing tonight. I think the roof's still closed up here. And so, I mean, it's the same perfect sort of conditions. Tough to explain.
3rd and 1. That's Austin Johnson, who is the fullback. First-year guy out of Tennessee. They give it to him, and he appears to have the first down.
Well, we have some banged-up offensive linemen now for the Saints. Not only Armstead out, but Jonathan Goodwin, who's playing with an injured ankle. Some doubt as to whether or not he was going to play in this one. So athletically, Goodwin was a guy that I thought was moving great before he got hurt a week ago. And Teron Armstead is probably the fastest offensive lineman there is in football. And they use him a lot on pitches, a lot on some of those screen plays.
Johnson did pick up the first down. The ball's at the 23. Breeze, play action, under pressure, throws, gets it away as he was knocked to the ground, and it turns out to be a first down as Tyree Robinson makes the catch. Tyrone Crawford came very close to getting the sack. Breeze was going down, was able to get it away, and it turns into a gain of 12.
Tyrone Crawford, I think right here, is going to take one of the great guards in the NFL, Jari Evans, straight backwards. Crawford now is playing inside in what's called a 3 technique because everybody else is hurt, but they really have high hopes for him inside at that key position.
And it's caught on a slant this time by the rookie Cooks. Brandon Cooks has 18 receptions coming into the game. They picked him #1 out of Oregon State. Drew Brees said, you know, I don't follow the draft that closely, but Sean Payton came to me and he said, you're going to love this guy.
Yeah, he says he runs 4.33, and his greatest attribute is what kind of guy he is. In practice, they say he's 100 miles an hour, whether it's a walkthrough or anything else. I've never seen higher or heard higher praise for a young player.
From the 47-yard line, over the middle and getting free is Marcus Colston to the 31-yard line. They've been doing that together for a lot of years. His 9th year in the league out of Hofstra. That's a perfect 7 for 7 for Breeze right now. 21 yards on this play.
All right, here we go. Right up the seam here, which is something you know the Saints love to do. And so as the middle linebacker, Bruce Carter's got to get back. But look at the touch pass. Up over the top, down before the safety could get there. Stretch that neck up and try and see over the top, as only he does.
From the 31 to the ground again, Robinson with a big 2 playoff games. Anthony Spencer, haven't called his name in over a year because he hasn't played in over a year. Got hurt in training camp last year, then came back, played a small part of 1 game, and then they put him on IR, so his first action in a year.
Well, if the Cowboys are going to truly make a run this year, it may fall on how well Anthony Spencer can play. They desperately need somebody to get pressure on the quarterback. So far, the defensive line of the Cowboys, only half a sack combined. So maybe Spencer coming back, maybe Tyrone Crawford inside. They all hope it helps.
2nd and 9. And that pass is thrown low and incomplete. Henry Milton putting the pressure on the former Chicago Bear. And that will make it 3rd down and 9 from the Dallas 30-yard line. The Saints they are noted for showing you every different formation under the sun through the first 15 plays. They've run 7 times, passed the ball 8 times for 83 yards, and used 15 different formations or personnel groupings. Pierre Thomas now flanks Breeze on 3rd down and 9. Play clock to 3 as Breeze slides to his left and then throws, and the tackle is made a couple of yards shy of the first by Benjamin Watson. So it's going to be 4th down here. Barry Church makes the tackle, and they're going to send in the field goal unit.
Really interesting. Justin Durant sort of faked a blitz off the edge and then ran right by Ben Watson coming across. I thought Durant was just going to level him at that point and sort of backed off, and they came close to picking up that 1st down.
Shane Graham for a 41-yard attempt. And Graham's kick is no good. Wide to the right. So a 5.5-minute drive comes up with 0. 7-0 Dallas. Cowboys now from the 31 after the missed field goal by Graham. And Romo starts this drive facing a blitz, and whoa, what a shot taken by Lance Dunbar by Bird, but he hangs on, gets up, and has the 1st down.
Some gutsy catches tonight by the Dallas Cowboys. Here we go, coming right down the middle. Again, you know you're going to get it. There's Jarris Bird, does a nice job getting his head out of there, hitting with the shoulder, perfectly clean. Who says you can't have big contact in the NFL anymore?
Who said that?
Play. Probably.
Who'd that say that?
Probably me.
From the 43, DeMarco Murray, the running back, and he gets it. And he picks up a couple, taking it across the 45-yard line. Bunkley making the stop. Well, Tony Romo, the last time we were in Dallas last year, they were fighting for a playoff spot, and Tony had to undergo back surgery. Kyle Orton got the start, close game, and then Tony had to rehab all winter.
Yeah, and he did not look anything close to what Tony Romo usually looks like in week 1. 3 interceptions in that game, and he said he came out of that game thinking, is this it? Is this what I'm going to be going forward now after that surgery? But since then, he's done a lot of core work and seems to be throwing it better.
Takes Wednesdays off every week during practice on 2nd and 7. The catch is made here by Des Bryant. So he sees his first action of the night. Gets it to the New Orleans 39-yard line. 1st down.
Always lots of attention out here on Des Bryant. Keenan Lewis right in his face. Safety over the top. And really for Tony Romo, he threw it high. That's the spot you want. You watch practice long enough, Des Bryant makes those types of catches all the time. Really strong hands. Loves the physical aspect of football. Not all receivers do.
To the ground again. And Murray for a hard yard. It was Bryant's 21st catch of the season, leading the club.
Let's go back and look at week 1 and Tony Romo. What he was talking about with us was he just simply could not push off and rotate those hips. If you play golf as well as Al Michaels does, you know you have to fire those hips to make a throw. And basically, he's just going to sort of drag that back leg around, and you can see a bit of discomfort. Tonight, there's that hip snap, and nice throw.
Speaking of golf, that's one thing that Tony had to give up, and he's scratched, so he's not going to fool around with that anymore. DeMarco Murray to the 33-yard line.
And we know how hard that would be to say, all right, I'm a scratch golfer, I'm going to give it up. He said, I'll take it up again when my football playing career is over. I guess with what he's making, that's a decent trade-off.
He made a big point about the torque the other night and the pressure there. And, of course, Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones have made and Stephen in the shirt and Jerry Jr. off to Jerry Jones's left shoulder. They made a pretty good investment in number 9.
They sure did. Big bet.
3rd and 5. Play clock down to 3. Romo buys time, steps up, wobbly pass is incomplete. And so that'll make it 4th down. Hicks comes in to put the heat on Romo, and they're going to send in the field goal group for a long attempt.
He just threw this one across his body. Here he goes. His body is straight ahead, but he got some pressure and tried to fire it out to the right, and this thing just completely got away from him. You could see him sort of drag that back hip around again. The one thing he is concerned about, he said, when I'm torqued, if I get hit in that position, it is like double the shot you would take ordinarily.
28 straight for Bailey. This is a 51-yarder. They're trying to make it 29, and he has just been terrific. 51-yarder, got it by plenty. 5.5 to go in the half. 10-0 Dallas. As Breeze starts this drive with the first catch of the night made by Jimmy Graham up to the 27-yard line. So Jimmy Graham, a nightmare matchup for any team. 6'7", 265, 5th year in the league, and before it's all said and done, boy, this guy could be as good as it ever gets.
Yeah, that's what Drew Brees was telling us. He said, you know, Jimmy Graham's had an unbelievable career, obviously. I mean, every time you turn around, he's breaking another record. But he said, I really don't think he's even close to what he's going to be, which is a frightening thought.
2nd down and 2, and that's tipped, and it's intercepted at the 39-yard line. Justin Durant comes up with the interception. Bruce Carter, who had an interception last week in St. Louis, was the guy who tipped it.
For Bruce Carter, a pick 6 a week ago to clinch that ball game. And here he goes one more time. Nice read. Usually Drew Brees can look off these linebackers. At that time, Carter able to get a piece of it, and Durant comes up with a big interception. So far, this sort of much maligned Dallas Cowboys defense has been taking it to the New Orleans Saints.
And the ebullient Jason Garrett, there they are. One tipping it to the other. The pick on a pass intended for Meacham. That was the first time he'd been targeted tonight. So Dallas starts at the 39-yard line. Fake the end around. And then dump it off underneath to Lance Dunbar for a big gain down the sideline. Stays inbounds and takes it inside the 10-yard line.
These linemen, because Tony Romo had to pump fake, were way down the field on that screen pass and gave them a bit of an edge, but no issue, I suppose. That play was expected from a lineman standpoint to be one fake and dump it out of there. He had to sort of pump fake it and work around, and the timing of it from the lineman standpoint was off.
He stepped out at the 15-yard line. So they spot it there after a 24-yard gain. They run the delay, and there goes Murray in for the touchdown. A smiling Linehan, you saw him on the right, and a very concerned Ryan on the other sideline.
Let me just tell you something. Jason Witten is one of the great players in the game. Watch this block. Not only does he make it against Junior Gillette, but he gets him turned. He gets on the good side of him by being able to flip around. Now you pin that guy inside, and it leaves all kinds of room for Murray on the outside. Look at Witten. He knew that was his play.
So after the interception, 2 plays, 39 yards. It's the most I've ever seen Garrett smile during a game. There's been a lot to smile about tonight.
Amazing.
Bailey for the point after. 4:03 left in the opening half. Pretty stunning. 17-0 Dallas. Where the Saints are trying to get it going. Their first drive ended with a punt, then a missed field goal on the second drive, then an interception, and they've been blanked through the first 26 minutes of the game. And this is Cadet, who will take a knee in the end zone. Meanwhile, the Dallas Cowboys are very fortunate that the officials kept their flags in their pockets here.
Yeah, I have no idea what they're doing. You see Romo having to fake, but Zach Martin out of Notre Dame, he's got to be at least 5 or 6 yards downfield. It looks like Ronald Leary is about the same, and because of that pump fake, I don't know how they missed that one. But it was a big play. Instead of 20 yards for the Cowboys, it should have been in reverse.
Should have been a first and 20. So now Breeze trying to get something started here, and the Dallas Cowboys defense stiffening as Kyrie Robinson gets taken down behind the line of scrimmage, 2nd and long.
Now this is one of those plays that Teron Armstead maybe could hook the defensive end on the outside, but not quite as athletic out of Bryce Harris. So it is not going to be easy tonight with this banged up offensive line to run the football. So you would expect, especially now with Morris Claiborne out, maybe some spread formations and try and put more corners on the field.
Breeze on 2nd and 10. Oh, that's almost picked off. Scandrick jumping the play in front of Marcus Colston. Gonna make it 3rd down. Now Scandrick comes up limping. So Claiborne back in the locker room, and now Scandrick limps back toward the huddle.
Gutsy play by Scandrick. There's nobody behind him. He sees this ball thrown and breaks up. If that had been one of those Drew Brees pump fakes, it would have been about an 80-yard touchdown going the other way. But Scandrick, it's interesting, he gives Rob Ryan a ton of credit for giving him a chance and believing in him. He was really the guy that picked out Orlando Scandrick.
Let's see if Breeze goes that way, because Scandrick is hurting, and it's a juggling catch by Cooks. Forward progress will not net him a first down, 1.5 yards shy of it, and so it's 4th down, and the Saints punting group comes in again.
I tell you, this Bruce Carter is a guy that was really not thought of as being very instinctive and whatever, but he is making plays all over the place the last 2 games. Here he is just in zone coverage. I think without question, maybe Peyton Manning and Aaron Rodgers, some top-end guys, but Drew Brees looks off linebackers as well as anybody, and so far Carter's been all over it.
Morstead gets the kick away. Harris going for a fair catch and makes it at the 23-yard line. So the Dallas Cowboys doing everything right tonight. Have the ball again and lead 17-0. Dallas Cowboys over the last few years have had to rebuild that offensive line, and there they are. The average age just 25.4. Doug Free is 30. Everybody else, of course, is in their 20s. They picked Smith in the 1st round in 11, Frederick last year, Martin this year. They did have a good offensive line for a lot of years, and then everybody got old in a hurry, and they've rebuilt it in a hurry, and right now it's one of the best in the league.
They really committed to it. 3 number 1 picks.
Moving right through the middle of that line and getting a lot more. There's Murray, and Murray almost broke it all the way. Gets tackled from behind at the 45 by Corey White.
Well, here's what you get when you draft somebody in the 1st round. Zach Martin going to get up on 2 blocks on that one. He was the 2-time captain at Notre Dame and a guy that played left and right tackle. So what does he play in the pros? Of course, right guard. But they talk about how intelligent Zach Martin and Travis Frederick are together, those 2 inside players.
84 yards on the ground for Murray tonight, and we come to the 2-minute warning. 2 minutes to intermission from the 45-yard line. Romo on 1st and 10. And that's a 9-yard gain, and that is Bryant, who goes down and gets up again, but he was down by Keenan Lewis, tackled there after a gain of 9 yards.
I tell you, this is brilliant. Watch Des Bryant right at the catch take a step back to avoid that hit. He knows on those slants that those Saints safeties are targeting a big shot on him. So what does he do? He breaks severely to the left, catches it in his hands, and nearly picks up that 1st down. Nice play.
Moving target, 2nd and 1. Cowboys have all of their timeouts. Romo, back shoulder and incomplete that time. Bryant covered there by Keenan Lewis. It'll be 3rd down and 1 for Dallas.
You just wonder if maybe now they're starting to have a little faith in Keenan Lewis on the outside, because if they don't have to double Dez, it gives them an opportunity to either blitz or help elsewhere. And so far, it hasn't been Des Bryant that's been hurting him. Maybe a little more trust now in Keenan Lewis, or at least try that.
3rd and 1, heavy package this time. Tyler Clutch is the fullback. He fronts Murray. Hannah sets up on a wing to the right. And DeMarco Murray will get that first down. Keeps the legs going. First down at the 44-yard line.
I believe the Saints played that one with 10. Corey White was running off the field and turned around and looked confused, but he officially just left the field, so they end up having to try and stop that one with 10 guys without success.
Good pickup. They sent 6 guys off the field when they saw the heavy package and only sent 5 onto the field. And then Romo throws incomplete, intended for Des Bryant down the right sideline with 45 seconds left in the half.
It's great coverage by Keenan Lewis. This is the matchup that I would want. I think that this is the one. If the Saints are going to be able to get back in this game, they have to take their best cover guy and try it against Des Bryant. Keenan Lewis came from Pittsburgh. He grew up here in New Orleans, wanted to take a shot in free agency, didn't sort of refuse the offer of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he has been their star here in New Orleans.
That's Harris, top of the screen near the sideline. Pass will go to him, and Harris with a nice juke move. First down and a lot more, and Harris will get taken down with a flag down at about the 15-yard line. Penalty markers back up at the 34. And Gene Steratore indicating this one's going to come back as the Cowboys.
Holding. Offense number 68. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Replay, second down.
Cowboys move back toward midfield. Doug Free, the right tackle.
Well, sometimes right here, you can get away with things. That's a pretty good acting job by Jarris Byrd, who just sort of sold the official there. I'm not sure there was an actual grab of that jersey or not. Veteran play there, because that one was going to be a problem.
Father might have told him that Gilbert was a great defensive back for San Diego for many years. So the ball back at the 44-yard line. On second down, the catch is made by Beasley. So they're in field goal range now. Ball at the 34-yard line, and Dallas will take a timeout with a half-minute left in the opening half. It's one of those games where time of possession is significant because Dallas wanted to shorten the game. In other words, don't give New Orleans any more possessions than necessary. They had a long first drive. They've controlled every aspect of the game, and right now with 2 timeouts have a 1st and 10 at the 34-yard line.
Ordinarily, when you think blitz out of Rob Ryan to try and drive him out of field goal range.
And instead, they're deeper into field goal range, and Witten wants to get out of bounds, and he does at the 23-yard line. So that saves a timeout. 24 seconds remaining in the half.
They did get a blitz, and watch DeMarco Murray right here. This is when you become a great back, when you can run like he does, when you can pick up a blitz and make them pay for trying to blitz your quarterback.
He took Humber out of the play. 17-0 Dallas with 24 seconds, and Romo on the 1st and 10 from the 23.
Now they have Dez in the slot and Keenan Lewis outside. I'm going to guess they're going to like that matchup over there against Corey White.
Romo looking the other way, and it's caught for the touchdown by Terrence Williams. Two touchdowns tonight for Terrence Williams, 4 on the season. Matched up on the rookie Brian Dixon.
Like the matchup against the rookie free agent even better. What a first half right now for Terrence Williams. 2 touchdown passes, everything going right. The protection has been masterful, regardless of blitz, no blitz. Somewhere even Jimmy Johnson may be saying, how about them Cowboys?
So Bailey to try to make it 24-0. You know, Chris, I'm thinking about the Cowboys, who engender more love and hate than any team in the National Football League, and have for years. And everybody's always saying, the naysayers are saying, they're no good. But others are saying, they have so much talent, what's wrong with this team? And they go 8-8 in each of the last 3 years. This year they come in, and most people said they're no good. The expectations, I think, for the Dallas Cowboys this year were lower than I can remember in a number of years.
Well, it's because they've been drafting boring players. Offensive linemen are not exciting draft picks. You know, Johnny Football, there was always that discussion, are they going to draft him? Instead, what they've done over the past 3 or 4 years is rebuild this offensive line. And if you go back to the great teams of the Dallas Cowboys when Troy Aikman and Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin were playing, they got all the attention, and justifiably so. They're great players. But at their core, they were great on the offensive and defensive lines. And right now, with the way that they've patiently rebuilt this offensive line, they're beginning to look a little bit like a team that may be able to run the football consistently, and if they do, the passing attack is going to come to life.
Loss on opening day to San Francisco here, then they went to Tennessee, beat the Titans. That was sort of expected. Fell behind 21-0 to the Rams last week, and then pulled off the victory. And tonight they have just been dynamic. The new AT&T Live Effects board as they keep adding new treats here. There's Charlotte Jones Anderson, who has a lot to do with how this place operates. And most people who come into this stadium say they've never been to a better one. Pierre Thomas will take the ball up to the 27, and the Saints just want to get to that locker room and rethink a whole bunch of stuff.
This is stunning on a lot of levels. This is a Dallas Cowboys defense that they were making fun of them a season ago. And they are shutting down the New Orleans Saints now.
Cadet is back to receive the kick. And a pretty important first drive coming up for New Orleans as we start the third quarter down by 24.
Well, no sacks by either team so far in this game, so it's really been about the coverage and making plays. Orlando Scandrick just reading Drew Brees' eyes, drops coverage, comes up and nearly makes an interception there. Bruce Carter, who had the pick six a week ago, tips the ball up. Justin Durant ends up with that one. And here's Carter one more time, not going for the pump fake and keeping that short of the first down marker. So sometimes you see young players sort of blossom, and for Bruce Carter the last couple of weeks, he's doing exactly that.
Here's Robinson. Gain of 1. Let's check in with Michelle.
Well, Sean Payton told me at halftime, he was pretty blunt. We didn't do a lot right. And if we're going to get back in this game, we're going to do it one drive at a time. We're not going to become one-dimensional. They'll be without Teron Armstead, who was out with a concussion. As for Jason Garrett, he was energized, and he said he told his defense, just do your job. It is not about them. It's never been about the Saints. It's about us. And he does not expect Mo Claiborne back, Al.
All right, thank you, Michelle. And, of course, Armstead not coming back. That means Bryce Harris takes his spot. It's a four-man rush as Brees slings one to the outside. Colston makes the catch, tries to dive for the first down. Let's see where they're going to spot the ball. And they'll spot it right on the 30, and that'll make it a first down.
You know what I can't believe is that Jimmy Graham has not been a bigger part of this mix. I mean, if you look at the Cowboys defensively over the beginning of this season, Vernon Davis had 2 touchdowns on opening day. Delaney Walker, 142 yards and a touchdown. Jared Cook, 7 for 75, and yet so far 1 catch, 8 yards for one of the most dynamic players in the game.
And it's the only time he's been targeted tonight. Now Brees throws, that's tipped in the air and incomplete. Looks like Tyrone Crawford got his hand on it. Makes it 2nd down and 10.
This Tyrone Crawford has really made a difference inside for this football team. Just has an energy to him. if you know anything about like the old Tampa Bay defense and Warren Sapp, the 3 technique, you know what a key element that guy is. And they've always thought that Crawford could play in there. They just never really experimented. Tonight, the experiment's working out really well.
All right, 3 technique definition.
He's the defensive tackle between the guard and the tackle.
Very good. There's Kyrie Robinson up to the 35. Flag is down.
Bruce holding. Holding. Offense number 79. 10-yard penalty. Replay. Second down.
Well, the guy playing in Armstead's place, Bryce Harris.
It was just a big bear hug. It was all that was. Working against Crawford, who's inside of him. Wrap both arms around. And that's what happens sometimes when you have a guy who's a little quicker than you are. And the one thing you know about Rod Marinelli defense is he expects unbelievable effort from his guys, and he is getting it inside from Crawford.
2nd and 20. And Breeze has to check it down underneath. Great tackle made there. Barry Church got the foot of Kyrie Robinson before he could take off, holding into a gain of 5. 3rd down and 15 next.
I don't think I've ever actually seen a shoestring tackle. You know, I've always heard that. That was kind of a shoestring tackle.
That's why you should wear loafers.
Yeah. That's as close as you can get. That's a shoestring tackle.
In an almost literal sense. 3rd and 15. And a 4-man rush, and diving to the sideline and making the catch is Kenny Stills. 2nd-year wideout from Oklahoma. Good rookie season, so they go to Stills, and he picks up the 1st down on 3rd and long.
Yeah, and anytime you have a receiver with that kind of speed, and you've got a big lead, you're Brandon Carr, you got to just respect that. But that was some throw that time by Breeze. It had to be perfectly timed, and what a year he had a season ago. 20 yards per catch. Best in the NFL. A lot of big touchdowns a season ago.
Big play here. Got 17 on a 3rd and 15. Breeze going deep, and it is caught on the run. This Stills again. So Kenny Stills, who've been silent back-to-back plays. The first one was good for 17 on a 3rd and 15. And that one for Kenny Stills is 46 yards.
But that's what happens now when you hit a comeback on the one prior. You go double move, and you go right by Carr on this one. But this throw is up over the top, and Drew Brees inside the pocket, as good as there is. Watch him here, buy a little time, and then just sort of drift one over the top. Now we're starting to see the New Orleans Saints in this offense.
From the 12. And Breeze will throw, and that's knocked down. Scandrick cutting in front of Colston. 2nd and 10.
That was some play by Colston. That was going to be an interception. That ball was basically thrown right to Scandrick. You're going to see him fake a blitz and then drop back out of there right here. And if Colston doesn't stick his arm out there, that is an interception.
On 2nd and 10. They try the ground. Pierre Thomas tries to get around the corner, but runs out of room. And it will be 3rd down and long for the Saints.
Some Dallas Cowboys fans that haven't waved a towel or stood up or cheered with this kind of lead in a long time. We're starting to enjoy this moment.
3rd and 10. Deep drop. Breeze under pressure. Hit as he throws, and it's incomplete. So 2 big plays to Stills, and then Dallas stiffens, and it's 4th down, and in comes the field goal group.
We're going to have right inside, I believe that was Nick Hayden who got the pressure, and Breeze was kind of forced to pull it down and really never got anything on that throw. So no sack, but pressure made the difference.
Shane Graham, who was in the Dallas camp in 2011. Dan Bailey won the job. They released him, missed a 41-yarder earlier. This is a 30-yard attempt, and the Saints finally get on the scoreboard. But it takes them almost 34 minutes, and it's 24-3 Cowboys. 24-3. Al Michaels, Chris Collinsworth, and Michelle Tafoya. Sunday Night Football. Wrapping up week 4. As Morstead's kick is fielded 5 yards deep by Dwayne Harris. And he'll bring it back out to the 25-yard line, where the Cowboys have it for the first time in the half.
NBC 360 one more time on the touchdown. You'll see what happens when you can run the football. 8 guys attacking the line of scrimmage, leaving one-on-one coverage, not just down at the bottom, but at the top of the screen as well. And as a receiver, you can't ask for anything better than that. And Tony Romo has been spot on tonight.
There are the numbers, 17 of 22, a couple of touchdown passes, both pulled in by Williams.
Kill.
And Murray's gained 87 yards and 14 carries on the ground.
Looks like man coverage again.
Carry number 15. Boy, you look at Murray. He takes it, and a few other guys with him. Here's the guy. I mean, when you have fumbling issues as he does, the coach has a tendency to want to sit him down. But then when you lead the league in rushing, it's a little harder to sit you down.
You know, one of the things the Saints struggled with in their opening game against Atlanta was the tackling. And this is not the first time this has happened tonight. That basically DeMarco Murray has carried this defense for an extra 5 yards. It's got to be a little disappointing so far for Rob Ryan. He thought he had that fixed.
More than a little, probably, as the fake to Murray, and then the pass is too high, intended for James Hanna, number 3 tight end. Tony says, come on, Gene, where's that flag?
All quarterbacks could work as lobbyists in Washington. It just doesn't matter. Ever since Tom Brady got that one call a few years ago by turning and sort of saying, what's up with that? They all work it. There's Romo, a little jump pass. A little shot on the tail end of it. Outside the pocket, though.
Makes it 3rd and 2. Murray just puts that shoulder down. That's all he needed to the 35-yard line. Curtis Lofton. Well, Lofton, who played with Atlanta, went to Oklahoma, and he hosted DeMarco Murray when he was being recruited in Norman.
He said DeMarco was so shy, they took him to a party and he asked for a pair of sunglasses. He said, why do you want a pair of sunglasses for this party at night? He says, because when I put on sunglasses, I feel like I disappear.
Sounds good to me.
That's an Adam Sandler movie, I think.
From the 35, off the play fake, catch is made. That's Williams having a big night. It's a first down, tackled by Jarris Byrd.
Well, here's what's happening. Because they're so concerned with Murray, these linebackers have no choice. They have to try and step up and stop the run, and then you end up with Terrence Williams just going right where they were. They took a big shot at him coming off the line of scrimmage, but he bounced off. And when you get this kind of balance going as an offense, Scott Linehan's going to have a lot of fun calling plays out here tonight. Yeah. Everything's working.
Yeah, look at those numbers. When you have a running game, play action passing can be deadly. And Romo 11 for his last 11. Now on an end around, Dwayne Harris to the short side of the field gets taken out of bounds by Jarris Byrd. Next to no gain.
You know, I just can't emphasize enough, though, the fact that the Cowboys as an organization 3-4 years ago understood they had a problem. They had a lot of high-priced offensive linemen that were getting old together. They weren't very good at that point. So they made the decision they were going to go 2-2. It ended up being 3-1, but they were going to replace 4 offensive linemen. They patiently went about that business. They didn't draft the flashy players, and right now you're starting to see that result.
Second down and 10 from the 45-yard line. running a three-man rush. Romo throws. It's caught on the other side of the 50 by Terrence Williams. Last year, the Saints defense, they brought in Rob Ryan after he got fired in Dallas, and he made them a whole lot better. But right now, they gave up 37 on opening day to Atlanta. They gave up a lot to Cleveland in the mid-20s. Last week, fine against a distracted Minnesota team, and tonight, not very good.
Yeah, and this is a big play. Right now, the Saints need a stop. They finally got on the board. Turn it back to your offense. See if you can cut this thing to a 14-point lead.
Play clock at 1 on a 3rd down and 5. Romo's going to step up. He's going to run for the first down. Tony Romo slides to a stop at the 28-yard line. As he did last week on a big play against the Rams, 21-yard gain here.
So they're going to bring this safety down, that one back. Just man coverage everywhere. They thought they were going to jump one of those routes, but in that man coverage, there's nobody left. Romo read it immediately, took off, and this was really what he wasn't capable of doing on opening day. He had a huge run last week. Look at that smile. I don't think that guy's having a little fun watching this.
He just watched Romo with the longest run of his career, 21 yards. He'd gone for 17 on a couple of other occasions. 21 yards for Tony. And there goes Murray inside the 10, juking and faking and scoring. This is like the exact reverse of the game in New Orleans last year.
This offensive line is killing the New Orleans Saints. Frederick, Leary, watch these two blocks. Get him turned to the outside, turn him inside. He's untouched. I mean, he's untouched. That's a nice run. Let's give Murray credit. He's been sensational tonight. But he is untouched until 15, 20 yards down the field.
That's 4 games in a row over 100 yards. He's 126 tonight. The extra point is good. And the Dallas Cowboys, halfway through the 3rd quarter, routing the Saints 31-3. Back to AT&T Stadium, 31-3 Dallas. In the NFL, which now I think stands for no form league. Nobody can figure anything. Tampa Bay beats Pittsburgh. You tell me. Dallas leads 31-3, and the Saints have it down by 28. History of the league among the guys who coached at least 100 regular season games. Sean Payton, his team's averaging almost 28 points per game. Mike McCarthy, 26.5. Blanton Collier, the old Cleveland Brown coach. There would be your top 3. And that Dallas defense tonight has done some number on the Saint offense as Thomas picks up 9 yards. Meanwhile, they made a change here in the offseason. Rod Marinelli, longtime assistant coach, had been with Chicago, came here, coached the defensive line last year. They elevated him to defensive coordinator. Monty Kiffin had been the defensive coordinator and gave him another title. He is still on the staff, and what a job that staff has turned in tonight.
It is some story, though, how all that happened. We'll lay that out a little bit. 2nd and 1, and the catch is made. Only the second by Jimmy Graham. In fact, lay it out right now. I'll lay it out there for you. Well, you know, Monty Kiffin was the defensive coordinator, and he'd worked with Rod Marinelli before, and they're friends and all that kind of stuff. But something was wrong. It was a bad year defensively. And so Monty Kiffin really didn't want to give up being the defensive coordinator. But one day he just walked into the office of Jason Garrett and said, you know what? Rod Marinelli supported me through all these years. It's really time for him to be the defensive coordinator. So they made the move. And that is incomplete. He never had a Jimmy Graham, knocked away by Sterling Moore. 2nd and 10. You know, there are a lot of people that thought that Sterling Moore may end up being the number 3 corner anyway. Mo Claiborne out with an injury here, really has not played very well thus far this season. And so Sterling Moore, the former Patriot who made that big play against Lee Evans and sent him on to the Super Bowl and all that kind of stuff, he now is the number 3, and that's a nice play.
Second down and 10 from the 39-yard line. Here comes a corner blitz, and Breeze is able to step up and shovel the ball to Jimmy Graham, who's a couple of yards shy of the first down.
I bet you Drew Brees turned a couple of double plays in his life. This looked like one of those shortstop dives, makes a play behind second base, and then just sort of flips it to the second baseman for the double play.
3rd and 2 from the 47-yard line, and they're able to convert, but then the ball is loose. The ball is loose. Did he have it? And they say no. It's ruled incomplete. Marcus Colston had it knocked away by Carter. The Cowboys won a completion and a fumble, but 2 officials came in to signal incomplete. Breeze says, let's huddle up. We're going for it.
Well, let's see this. I'm not so sure this isn't a fumble. He catches the ball, makes a little hop between defenders, catches it cleanly. I guess they're going to say that first step really wasn't taken. Is that Bruce Carter again knocking that thing out of there?
It was, and of course, the play could be challenged, but I'm not sure it's worth it for Jason Garrett. Doesn't look like he would win it. Down by 28, the Saints will go for it on 4th and 2. The play clock is at 1. 3-man rush, and he's able to convert the first down. They get 3 yards, needing 2. Colston makes the catch. Carter is right there to corral him.
That was some catch on 4th down. One arm is what he's going to use to make this catch. Check this one out. He's going to fire it back in there. That's all I need, just that one there. Snag it. Keep this drive alive. They needed that.
One-arm catch has become standard in the National Football League these days. You see it every week.
They don't need it anymore.
From the 50, and that pass is too high and incomplete, intended for Colston. 2nd and 10.
Marcus Colston just saved a second interception. He had one earlier in the game where he deflected the ball away from Skandrick, and this is all the way going to be an interception by Barry Church, and he just managed to knock that one down.
The great Jason Witten on the Cowboys sideline, watching his defense working here. 2nd down and 10. Again, just a 3-man rush, which became like a 2.5-man rush as Colston makes the catch, setting up the 3rd and short.
Well, what a difference for the Dallas Cowboys when Rolando McClain and Justin Durant and Bruce Carter are in there together. Last week, Bruce Carter had to sort of play the will linebacker position, which is not really what he wants to be. And Rolando McClain, another incredible story. Actually, he's retired twice, former #1 pick of the Raiders, high #1 pick. And these guys are on the field. They're a different defense.
Carter for the moment on the sideline. Kyle Wilbur takes his spot. Going to try to run it for the first down, and getting it. Breaking tackles is Robinson. Kyrie Robinson getting away from Kyle Wilbur and moving the chains.
Well, that was just a fantastic block by Josh Hill. It gets the edge. Anytime you're trying to go outside, you have to set that edge. The linebacker there, Kyle Wilbur, tried to go inside but missed the tackle. But for Josh Hill, not an overwhelmingly powerful guy, but used his quickness that time to get the edge.
From the 29, this is the 11th play of this drive. And Breeze, another short throw, and a gain of just a couple. Brandon Cooks making the catch.
You know, it really is amazing to think that Orlando Skandrick, if not for Rob Ryan, may not have had the opportunities that he had. You know, Rob said he's the best corner we got. You know, there were all these other guys in camp, and he's said, I don't know who you guys are looking at. This is our best player. They gave him a big contract, and it's paid off.
2nd and 7, catch made over the middle and losing the ball. Graham, it's picked up by J.J. Wilcox.
And he loses it.
And then he loses it. And who's got it at the bottom of the pile of the 23-yard line? Dallas. So Graham gets free, fumbles near the 10-yard line, and the Saints turn it over. Second turnover of the night, fourth fumble of Graham's career. All Big D, 31-3. Not even into October yet. Only 2 undefeated teams remain. Cincinnati and Arizona, both with byes. We did that game in preseason in Glendale, Arizona. Jimmy Graham, fourth fumble. So he fumbles about once every 82 handles. He's on the bench. Cowboys have it at the 23-yard line. 1st and 10. Joseph Randall is the running back here. They give it to him. And he charges out to the 27-yard line.
Well, this is a hustling Dallas Cowboys defense. Jimmy Graham, nice catch. They're trying to force feed their best player down the field. There's Rolando McClain end up coming in and knocking it out. J.J. Wilcox hustling, getting down there. Nick Hayden down the field. He sort of taps it back to Wilcox, who I think recovered it. So 2 fumble recoveries on one play for this Dallas defense.
2nd and 6.
There's going to be a lot of man coverage opportunities now. They have to come attack.
And Randall again. 1st down. Doesn't matter who gets the ball tonight. Off they go. Breaking tackles. Doing it again here. Out he goes to the 41-yard line. That's a gain of 14.
Doug Free is not their best pass protector, but you line him up in the running game, he is pretty darn good at right tackle, and a lot of times that has to be your power side. The tight end, more often than not, will line up to the right. He has had a nice game tonight, but I would be hard-pressed to find somebody for the Cowboys who hasn't.
Dallas with 165 yards on the ground. Final minute of the 3rd quarter. Chewing up the clock. Gain of about 4 here for Joseph Randall.
You know, it's always the chicken or the egg, right? Does the offensive line make the back, or does the back make the offensive line? My theory has always been, if you create a hole up front, they'll find you 1,000 guys to run through it. And certainly when you get a back with the skill set that DeMarco Murray has, it is going to be something special. If he stays healthy this year, he is going to be very much in the MVP hunt.
Cover 0.
Cover 0
on the coverage.
Nobody back there. Swinging to the outside in another big game. Randall flagged down. Gets to the 38-yard line, but a penalty.
Holding. Offense number 65. 10-yard penalty. Replay, 2nd down.
That's the left guard. That's Ronald Leary.
Yeah, Leary's pulling out in front, and sometimes linemen get used to playing in the interior where you can get away with a little bit of this stuff, but you get on the edge and you make that grab right there, and you could see Leary was looking right at the official. As soon as he held, he looked over and saw that flag flying at him.
And they wind the clock, and that's the way the 3rd quarter will end, with Dallas leading 31-3. Sunday Night Football continues after these messages. There's Larry Allen, the Hall of Famer. At the bottom of the screen. Looking on as that offensive line has done masterful work tonight. And Romo on the first play of the 4th quarter will air it out for Bryant. A little hand checking and no flag. Keenan Lewis covering on the play. 3rd and 17.
Obviously, big night for Tony Romo tonight. We're starting to see some of the Tony Romo plays we've been used to in the past. Watch this little Houdini routine. You hold the ball that long and get a completion out of it and a flag, good things are going to happen. You see his hips now starting to snap in a way that they did before, driving the football in, driving off that back leg. There's the touchdown, and when you have a night like that, it's all fun.
All Dallas, all night on both sides of the ball. 3rd down and 17. And Romo throws. It's Witten making the catch. Well shy of the first. You know, there's no turning point in a game like this. It's been all Dallas. But for what it's worth, you go back to the coin flip, where most teams defer these days. Garrett says we want the ball. They didn't want to take a chance and give New Orleans the ball, have them go down the field. All of a sudden you're behind again. He took the ball and went 80 yards for the touchdown. They never looked back.
Yeah, we talked about it with Tony Romo and said, is this one that you're not going to defer? I didn't realize that they never deferred, but he said, absolutely. You do not want to give them the ball first. Make it take it.
And they took half the quarter away. Kick fielded by Brandon Cooks back at the 5 off the foot of Jones. And the coverage pins him against the far side at about the 11-yard line. A little extra at the end, and that brings in the flag.
During or after the play, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, late hit, number 17 of the kicking team. That 15-yard foul is added to the end of the run. 1st down, New Orleans.
Dwayne Harris. A minute gone in the 4th quarter. 31-3 Cowboys. 1st and 10 now for the Saints from the 24-yard line. And a nice gain here on the ground. Tyree Robinson taken off. Out in front. Inside the 20. And they'll stop him down at the 11-yard line. Bruce Carter pulling up lame. And Carter's on his back on the sideline. That's a 62-yard run. But there is Bruce Carter, who's had such a big night.
That was bizarre. Bruce Carter flew down the field and almost caught him. And then just as he got there, pulled up lame.
And there is Bruce Carter. We saw him come up lame on the sideline, but he's able to walk off with just a little bit of assistance. So he's back on the bench. Meanwhile, that was a 62-yard run. And then Breeze throws, and the catch is made, and into the end zone for the touchdown goes Josh Hill. So they finally get into the end zone, meaning that the Saints have now scored a touchdown in every one of the games that Sean Payton has head coached. That's 116 straight.
Josh Hill's going to block and then release out here. This is now the 2nd straight week with a touchdown, and a week ago Josh Hill had more receiving yards than he had all of last season. So that continues here. Bruce Carter goes out one play and they get a touchdown pass.
Now Shane Graham to kick the extra point with 13:35 remaining in the 4th quarter. There's Carter walking around on the Dallas sideline. So the Saints get into the end zone, but Dallas leads by 21.
Here comes probably an onside kick. Nope.
Instead, all the way to the end zone. And nod to Ryan Seacrest. He does such great charitable work. 31-10 Dallas. As Murray gains 9. You should all know Chris grew up in Florida, but I've made him into a gigantic hockey fan in Vancouver and in Sochi.
That was one of the great sporting moments I think I was ever a part of. Even though the U.S. team got beat, when they made that goal right at the end of regulation, and then Canada ultimately won it in overtime. But we walked outside the building that night, and it was amazing. Flags waving, people hugging. It was, what a scene that was.
Yeah, that was Vancouver. Sidney Crosby with the golden goal in 2010, and Canada, of course, won it again in Sochi last February. 2nd and 1 here from the 29-yard line. And Romo drops the snap. He covers it himself back at the 23-yard line.
Kind of strange. Travis Frederick was sort of pointing and giving a signal, and then the ball just never seemed to quite get there. Good recovery by Tony Romo. But Travis Frederick is a guy, maybe one of the slowest guys ever at the combine. I hate to even put it like that. But he is a center that just does not get pushed back. He played at Wisconsin, very physical, run game offensive line, and he consistently grades out as one of the best in the league.
3rd and 6. Romo is going to step up, and he's going to be stopped well short of the first down. So the Saints get a 3 and out, trying to hang on for dear life as the clock is under 12 minutes now, but they will get the ball back.
But Tony Romo wasn't going to take a chance there. He wasn't comfortable. You certainly don't want a turnover at this point. Of course, the Rams kind of gave them an opportunity to get back in with a fumbled snap a week ago right before the half.
First drive tonight on which Dallas did not get a first down. That almost hit the board. High kick off the foot of Jones is fair caught by Cooks at the 41-yard line. Well, it's a 21-point game, but we still have 11-27. This one coming real close to hitting the board. We're looking at this during the break. Take a look at this. There's the ball. Does it touch the bottom of the board? I think it does. The tip of the ball, which alters its course. It's only a 33-yard punt. Had it been ruled that it hit the board, it would have been a do-over. But that escapes the attention of the officials, and New Orleans has the ball at the 41-yard line. And Breeze will throw, and it's dropped into triple coverage. Marcus Colston is there. Let's go to Michelle.
Well, Dallas will be without the services of Bruce Carter for the rest of the night. He's out with a right quad strain. He'd been so productive, but we saw him pull up. They've got ice on that quad, and he is done for the night.
All right, thank you, Michelle. So another thing we should point out, we haven't even mentioned Sean Lee tonight, is look at Carter. We saw McLean playing after he missed last week. Sean Lee, the great linebacker, hurt in OTAs during the offseason, done for the season. Breeze sliding, throwing, caught, and inside the 30-yard line for a first down is Tavares Cadet. And so, all of a sudden,
a little out and up, and J.J. Wilcox bit on it. Maybe a little better throw, might have had a chance to go the distance, but the Saints offense, you knew they had to wake up eventually.
31-yard gain. Breeze fires, and they really have it going now. Catch is made by Brandon Cooks, close to a first down. See where they spot the ball. It's Orlando Scandrick making the tackle. Saints coming up without a huddle. He's a yard shy of the first and 2nd down and 1. That'll move the chains as Cadet makes the catch at the 14-yard line. And all of a sudden, things are getting a little nervous in Arlington, Texas.
Yeah, well, that time they took Cadet out, and that meant a linebacker, Justin Durant, had to go play him in man coverage. And now they're starting to get to this spread that I thought they would earlier in the game because of the injuries in the secondary.
And over the middle, Graham, and he's going to dive into the end zone for a touchdown. And we're going to have a 2-possession game with 9:49 to go.
Hasn't been the best of games for Jimmy Graham today, but you keep force feeding a weapon like this. And when he smells the goal line, he is going to get it in there. This is now starting to get to that think about it point here. You have an offense like this, and they may seem to have found a little something now in this spread. Bruce Carter out.
Well, what was a walk in the park not long ago. is now a scary trek home as the kick is good by Shane Graham. So it was 31-3. It's now 31-17 with a lot of time to go.
This is Sunday night.
And so Jimmy Graham, a very silent first part of the game, and then all of a sudden 5 catches now. And a touchdown there, 31-17. The Cowboys line up expecting a possible onside kick. Harris the only man back. And Morstead's going to kick this one through the end zone to give the Cowboys the ball at the 20-yard line.
Well, so far the Dallas Cowboys offensive line tonight has simply dominated, along with DeMarco Murray. The young bucks up front really getting it done. Travis Frederick, Zach Martin, Doug Free, Ronald Leary, all of them have been very good. But inside, Frederick and Martin really have made a difference. And then on the outside, the vice grips of Tyron Smith, Junior Gillette going nowhere. But now is when you really would love to have a couple of rushing first downs and let that clock run.
No doubt. A 3 and out is about the last thing that Dallas would need emotionally right now, after a huge lead has become a perilous one to some degree. 5-yard pickup here for DeMarco Murray. Murray with 140 yards tonight, 100 rushing yards or more, and a touchdown to start a season. Of course, Jim Brown 6 games, Simpson 5, Emmett 4, and Murray's done it for the 4th straight time here.
I always say my opinion of a statistic is who's on the list, and by that standard,
not bad.
It's not bad.
So Romo now going to milk the play clock. Down inside 5, and you're going to get Murray bottled up. That's going to make it 3rd down and about 6, and a very big play coming here for both sides. And timeout is taken by the Saints.
Nice play by Raphael Bush, kind of weaving his way through here. Dwayne Harris tried to block him, but he was able to get through there to set up this big 3rd down. And now this is when it gets really interesting.
And for Sean Payton, he takes a very early timeout, but I agree with him here. I mean, if they can stop him here, you still have a ton of time. You use the timeout, and now the best thing, of course, that could happen for New Orleans is an incomplete pass.
Well, the one thing that we've seen tonight is that they are not double covering Jason Witten. I have seen him at times with a vice coverage, and there is just a bit of a connection between he and Tony Romo. He probably reads defenses better than any tight end in the game. So they're going to, I'm sure, take a look there. Will they throw it, though? That may be the bigger question.
3rd down and 6. Romo under pressure, and down he goes. That's almost better than an incomplete pass. Clock will continue to go, but they back him up even farther. Kenny Vaccaro comes in, and Breeze will go back to work.
Well, it looks like it's going to come here, right? But no, sir. It ends up coming that way. Just as the Dallas Cowboys try to adjust, they slid the line to the left side, and that is the beauty of that zone blitz. You don't know which way it's going to come. Tony Romo, Travis Frederick had to make a call. They decided they were going to slide left. They guessed wrong and paid the price.
Chris Jones, who we believe grazed the board on his last punt. This one won't come close. Backing up, fielding at the 30-yard line is Cooks, and he'll go down at the 40-yard line. 8:03 remaining in regulation. Jimmy Graham, last 3 years in the league, came in the year before that 270 receptions and 36 touchdowns. Only 6 players matching or bettering those totals, and that's that pretty good list. Talking about a list with good looking names on it. That's one right there. And Jimmy Graham has played a big part in what is now a comeback that's ended from 31-3 to 31-17.
Welcome to the National Football League, huh? Looked like it was completely over, and here we go now.
Breeze. Gonna have time. Throw. Sideline incomplete. Intended there for Kenny Stills. Sterling Moore covering on the play. 2nd and 10.
Yeah, really big miss there by Breeze. That one looked like it was going to be really easy. Wide open, and you just don't see the Saints miss many like that. We're starting to go to that bootleg with this Saints team. Sometimes they'll go bootleg and then throw back across the field the other way for big plays.
Graham wide left, and now the Saints may have had an extra guy in the huddle. Gene Steratore ready to make the call.
Illegal substitution, 12 men, offense, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
So it's a 5-yarder, going to make it 2nd down and 15. Count them up.
Yeah,
30 dozen.
That would be 12.
So trying to change the personnel grouping and get caught. 2nd down and 15 now. Breeze climbing, going deep down the left sideline and almost intercepted. Sterling Moore with Jimmy Graham. The ball hung, floated, and Moore able to get there and bat it down. 3rd and 15.
Big play here by Sterling Moore, who really has stepped in here for Mo Claiborne and had a nice game. You saw Jimmy Graham. I don't think he believed the ball was going to come. Slow down a little bit. Fine play by Sterling Moore. He is maybe earning that 3rd cornerback spot for the Cowboys. They'll line up
9-inch advantage.
They'll line up right at the 1st down marker, about 7 guys.
Yep, only 3-man rushing, 8 back. They throw underneath, and they're going to stop him at the 41-yard line. That's Pierre Thomas. Well, I tell you, that defensive alignment for Dallas, they had 3 guys up front, and the next closest guy was about 12 yards behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah, it won't be hard to guess where the 1st down marker is, right? They say, we don't care what you do. You throw in front of that, and we're just going to rally up and make the tackle.
So now it's 4th down, and the Saints on a 4th and 9 are going to elect to punt. They still have over 7 minutes to play. And Peyton just feels, assuming they don't fake it here, he's got a better shot at stopping Dallas and taking over again than he does to make a 4th and 9 in this situation. And now
there it is.
It's a fake. Morstead's going to keep it. He's going to look downfield. He's going to get under pressure, and he's going to be tackled at the 39-yard line. Jack Crawford comes in for the tackle. And Dallas expecting it.
Well, yeah, I guess they were expecting it. Rich Bisacci, let's give him some credit that they're going to come in motion and do all this stuff. My question is, game's on the line. Who do you want throwing that pass? Do you want Drew Brees? Do you want Thomas Morstead? I don't think they were going to fool anybody with the fake, but...
Well, Morstead's never thrown a pass in the league, so maybe they thought it was beginner's luck.
Well, once the motion came across, it sort of tipped it a little bit, didn't it? That you knew something was up.
So the ball at the 39-yard line. The best laid plans go awry right there, but those weren't the best laid plans. And here's Murray. And Murray will get taken down near the sideline. Junior Gillette making the tackle.
Maybe this is a bit of the reason why they decided to fake this one. Cowboys a little short. Just 9 guys up front.
And Dwayne Harris then came into the picture at the end. He was back inside the 10-yard line.
Give me Jimmy Graham in that formation.
And meanwhile, now Romo's going to take a timeout. The play clock went all the way down. to 1. So 6:07 remaining in the fourth quarter. Next week to Foxborough. That means Tom Brady, of course, and the New England Patriots hosting the 3-0 Cincinnati Bengals with football night getting it started at 7 o'clock Eastern time. You're right. We did the Cincinnati Arizona game, one of the teams in preseason.
Yeah.
Super Bowl preview.
I've seen stranger things.
Yes,
Why
we
not?
have.
The Bengals have just been consistently good. A team that never lost at home a season ago until they got the playoffs and got beat by the San Diego Chargers. I'm still kind of trying to figure that one out.
What, the punt or the Chargers being the Bengals?
No.
2nd and 7. And going nowhere here is DeMarco Murray.
It's one of those, if it works, you're brilliant.
Yeah.
And, that's the whole league. And so I don't want to be the Monday morning quarterback, but
you are.
Well, you got one of the greatest quarterbacks, a Hall of Famer, and that one just didn't work out.
So 3rd and 8. Romo taking as much time as he can off the clock.
At this point, they would have to punt if they don't make it from where they are now.
Yep. Tony will throw. He's got Witten. There's your first down to the 21-yard line. So you go to the security blanket in situations like that, as he has since Tony became a starter back in 06.
Kenny Vaccaro, really one of the top-end cover safeties, and Jason Witten a little long in the tooth, but sometimes long in the tooth is a good thing. Jason Garrett making a big deal out of how Jason Witten is the most complete tight end, and he has been for the last decade. He can block. We saw that plenty of times tonight, and in clutch situations, those two have been quite a combo.
591 through the years. Corey White, the cornerback, comes off. When the hell is long in the tooth a good thing? Come on.
Yeah,
Never mind.
Works for me.
Yeah, right. First out of the 22 as they will wind the clock in a moment here. And that's what Romo was saying right now. When are you going to wind the clock?
Would the game clock operator please reset the game clock to 5 minutes 4 seconds? The play clock operator set the play clock to 31 seconds. We will start this play on the ready for play and wind the clock.
There you go.
Well, Jason Garrett has to be relieved. This thing looked like it was going to turn. They missed an easy pass. Remember to start that last drive, they had Stills wide open, and then the 12 men in the huddle, and they blew the opportunity. I mean, it should have never come to that fake punt. They had easy opportunities and just didn't hit it.
Hey, we ain't done yet.
No, sir. No, sir. Have to hold them to at least a field goal here, right?
The field goal makes it a 17-point game, so it's still going to be a 3-possession game. They have to hold them to nothing.
Yeah, you're right.
So Romo
just waiting on the clock.
Yep, taking the play clock all the way down. Simple handoff to Murray. He gets stopped before he gets to the line of scrimmage. 4.5 to play, and a timeout here is taken by the Saints, and that's their second.
Well, Jason Witten, first of all, working down the field early on, got knocked down, begged for the flag, got that too, then got up and made the play. And here he is blocking and setting up some of the big runs by DeMarco Murray. Penning Jr. Gillette inside on the touchdown. That's the reason he's called the most complete tight end in the game. Multiple Pro Bowls. Kind of a throwback guy. He does it all.
One game he missed in 12 years. 2nd and 11. Murray swings to the outside, puts it in his left arm, and is a yard short of the first down. Gets tackled there by Jarris Bird and stayed in bounds to keep that clock moving.
Yeah, one of the problems you get in this situation, and you try and get a pass rush around the outside and watch Tyron Smith just sling him back there. And you see DeMarco Murray switch it over to his left hand, something he worked on in the offseason, thought he needed to do better in the first 2 games. Fumbled twice with the ball in his left hand. And then in game 3, fumbled with it in his right hand. So at least he's still working, trying to improve.
Yeah. He's fumbling because he carries it low and away. And of course, you think back to Tom Coughlin and Tiki Barber all those years and the phrase high and tight. And you get a whistle before the snap here.
Delay of game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Still 3rd down.
It's going to make it 3rd down and 6, but clearly in field goal range. And if they get 3, as we say, it makes it a 3-possession game.
And they've got a kicker that hasn't missed in a year. What, 29 now? Is that right?
29 in a row for Dan Bailey.
That really is quite a story. I was talking to him on the field before the game, and I was like, wait a minute now, 29 in a row. That means you're an athlete beyond just being a kicker. Tell me your story. Did you play quarterback in high school or something? And he said, no, I'm from Oklahoma and played that 8-man football, so I played every position. All right. Champion golfer, I think, in high school. All makes sense.
Won the decathlon of the Olympics. Not really. 3rd and 6. From the 18. Heavy blitz. Pass caught inside the 5 and taking it into the end zone. Dez Bryant for the touchdown. Well, things got a little nervous here for a little while, but right now the Dallas Cowboys have secured it.
Exact same play that Terrence Williams scored on earlier. A little back shoulder throw. No choice there but to try and come up, play everybody at the line of scrimmage, man coverage, attack. You really have no choice. But how about the call there from Scott Linehan? And you certainly can't take a chance on turning it over, but he had that much confidence in Tony Romo, and why not? He's been almost perfect tonight.
And Bailey tacks on point number 38. That made a lot of people happy. Cowboy fans and a few others too. You know what I'm talking about. 38-17.
We have some frustrated New Orleans Saints on the field right now.
Tony Romo, 3 touchdown passes, no picks. Murray came into the game leading the league in rushing, so he has a huge lead right now over Le'Veon Bell of Pittsburgh, who would be second. Terrence Williams had those 2 touchdown catches in the first half and has scored a half dozen. And Dez's numbers tonight. And that defense, I mean, even though they gave up those 2 back-to-back touchdowns, tremendous job for Rod Marinelli's group through the first 46 minutes of the game.
Yeah, but you also have to talk a little bit about Scott Linehan and the job that he did. About the same time, within 20 minutes, when Monty Kiffin came in and said, I really think that Rod Marinelli should be the defensive coordinator. 20 minutes later, Scott Linehan called and said, I'm going to accept your offer and be your passing game coordinator, I guess he would be. But Scott Linehan has made a huge difference. They have finally settled. It's Jason Garrett. They asked him to step down from the play calling. They went to Bill Callahan, maybe feeling like they relied a little bit too much on Tony Romo to call his own plays. Wanted another guy, brought in Linehan, and maybe now this is the magic they've been waiting for.
I mean, Chris, what team has more drama than the Dallas Cowboys? Year in, year out. Of course, it starts with Jerry Jones up top. A lot of people say, why doesn't he hire a general manager? What's wrong with him? the naysayers go, hey, look, they won their 3 Super Bowls a million years ago. Only one playoff win in the last pretty much 2 decades, but high drama.
You know, but you have to sometimes give owners and general managers credit for what they don't do. And, you know, Johnny Football was out there, and there was a lot of conversation about that. And they decided to stick to the plan, improve the offensive line, and it's paying dividends.
Well, right now they're on the cusp of going to 3-1. Here's Graham. And boy, you look at that Dallas schedule, and it really sets up very favorably between now and mid-November. As you look at the Jones family, little palpitations there for about 10 minutes in the middle of the 4th quarter, but they're going to get the ship into port. First down here for Graham. So the Cowboys lost at home, won 2 on the road. They're going to win here at home. Upcoming schedule, they get Houston here next week. Then they go to Seattle. Of course, that's a tough one, obviously. Whistle here, but look at the next 3. The Giants, Washington, and Arizona. Tough, but all here, all in the stadium. Then November 9th is Jacksonville, but it's not at Jacksonville. It's in London, where there'll be far more Cowboy fans, obviously, than Jaguar fans. And then as you look down the stretch, then it gets really tough because that's when you pay the price. It's a Sunday night game on the 23rd at the Giants. Philly comes here, and then 3 of the last 4 are on the road. But right now they go into the part of the schedule where if they can make some hay here.
One thing we know is the Cowboys don't want it to come down to the last game of the season again.
Yeah, we've done that 3 years in a row. They've lost them all. They wound up 8-8 all 3 times. Cadet gets tackled there by Spencer. Clock at 2:40.
There's no doubt that if you'd have said which one of these teams was going to end up 3-1 and which one 1-3, the majority of people would have flipped this one.
Only about 97.4%. Jimmy Graham makes the catch. So the numbers will look pretty good for Breeze and for the Saints and all that, but the story of the game is quite different. Breeze 31 of 43, 333. And he's going to get sacked here. He gets rolled down by Henry Melton. And that takes us to the 2-minute warning. So the Cowboys 120 seconds away from going to 3-1 with a 21-point lead over the Saints. Three and 1 on top. The Giants have won their last 2, and Washington at the bottom at 1-3.
Yeah, for a little while it looked like the Giants weren't going to be a factor.
Phil Garrett, Jason's wife, Princeton undergrad and Harvard Law.
Aren't we all?
PS 139 undergrad, Hamilton High grad. Into Cadet and losing the ball, and they're going to whistle it dead.
Ruling on the field was the runner down by contact.
Down by contact at the
runner
44.
down by contact. 3rd down, New Orleans.
I'm going to say I doubt it.
Well, there's no challenging in this situation, and it's not a turnover, so it would get reviewed in New York inside 2 minutes. And the crowd now sees it, but they're not going to stop it. Well, maybe they are now. New York has to stop it.
The previous play will be reviewed. Prior to the snap, the previous play will be reviewed.
They have to do it. Actually, it's the replay booth here, and then New York will look at it as well. So the replay booth here says, hey, wait a second, we got to look at this again. Is the knee down? Ball's coming out. Looks like it is. And Steratore will go over and check it out on the monitor.
That was close. The knee was close, but I'm not sure the ball wasn't starting to move.
It's moving. Question is it moving before the knee touches? Close.
Close.
Close, and maybe a cigar. I don't know.
Yeah. I guess if you're looking for a little silver lining for the New Orleans Saints, They've lost 3 on the road, but we all know that's not where their strength is. Typically very tough to beat at home.
Well, they go home next week, and they've got Tampa Bay, which until today looked like a total walkover, and then Tampa Bay goes into Pittsburgh and knocks them off. And then they go to Detroit and get Green Bay at home on a Sunday night, just before Halloween.
Well, there's Scott Linehan, and Jason Garrett. Is interesting what he was saying. He said, I knew he had all the right guys on the bus, but they just weren't in the right seats. The players, coaches, everybody, and I want to guess he feels like they're in the right seats now. Big year for Jason Garrett. I think everybody knows it. They need to get off that 8-8 train.
3 in a row. Before that, he took over when Wade Phillips was let go in the 2010 season. Looked good down the stretch. So they're going to give Dallas the ball. As
after review, it has been determined that the ball was fumbled before the runner was down by contact. It will be Dallas's ball, 1st and 10 on the 45-yard line. The ball will be placed on the hash mark nearest Dallas's bench.
Well, hardly germane to the game. Wasn't going to matter either way, really, but now Dallas can run the clock out, and we can go to the postgame show.
Yeah, the hope is that the officials don't blow the whistle when it's close like that and they see the ball out. And if they had not blown the whistle, that would have been a touchdown for the Cowboys. Pretty good combination right there.
Well, Linehan had been with Detroit on Jim Schwartz's staff. Before that, for a couple of years, the head coach at St. Louis. And he gets the play calling card and called a very nice game tonight.
Well, the game of football is really not that complicated. When you have to commit all those guys to stopping the run, you end up with single coverage across the board on the outside with no help, and then the passing game gets easy. And so tonight it was the Dallas Cowboys offensive line. It was DeMarco Murray pounding the football relentlessly all night, and then those wide receivers got their opportunities to play one-on-one, and for pro athletes, that's not too hard.
So the kneel down is going to end it as we go down to the final minute of the game. We looked at that Dallas schedule and how it sets up very favorably. And then you got the Saints. They've got Tampa Bay next week. Then they're off. Then at Detroit, the Sunday night game is Green Bay on the 26th. And then on 3 days rest, they go to Carolina for a Thursday night game. And then they get the Niners and Cincinnati at home. Pretty interesting in that NFC South, which all of a sudden is now a lot tighter, with Atlanta losing today to Minnesota. That was an upset. Tampa Bay winning, Carolina losing, Philadelphia. So they're all bunched up in that division. And this kneel down by Tony Romo will write an end to this one. And what a difference a year makes, huh, in this rivalry.
I tell you, last year it was a complete blowout. The Saints destroyed the Cowboys, but this is a remade Cowboys team. Maybe back to the future for them as they get back to their roots in running football.
So the Cowboys win it 38-17.